a little bit longer because he wanted to look at underneath the deck and stuff. The deck has to be repaired, no doubt. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down just a little bit. I'll put both of them side by side. Hold on, let me try and straighten this out. All right, let's try this now. Go to YouTube, onto my channel. What the heck's going on here? I guess I'm already on my channel. All right. All right, guys, I'm back. Just want to be able to see your chat, your comments. Let me see. Do I want to bring this a little closer? Yeah, that'll be about right. The flange. Say hello, guys. Come on, get forward here. All right. Now I have to be able to see the high spot on this. Okay, so I'm thinking excuse me. Okay, that looks good. Anybody joining me here? To watching. Okay, so I'm back. Right now, that high spot is coming in right where the seam is, which is fine because it's like really close. But what I'm doing, oops, I almost did it the wrong, big no-no. Now this is flashing. This is all I'm using for this, is flashing. All right. And I'm just gonna keep right on going with this. Oops. Yeah, that's gonna have to be there. Hold on, let me double check. Nah, that's good. Now let's see if I got a piece that will fit between here and there. It needs to be wider. You know what? I'm going to go here and there. Then I'll put another piece right here. Oh yeah, that's good, because then now the clay will come in right over here. Come on, fly, go away. Let's see, let's see. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. All right. So the only thing we have left to do now is tape. And tomorrow, when I go to mold this, I'm going to put the clay on this tomorrow because I don't want that to dry overnight. The clay, I use a wet clay, which is a water-based clay. And when I put that clay on here, I got to put clay underneath the backside of the neck. I have to put clay on both ears. But that's pretty much all I have to do. All right, so we're going to start right here. Too close to the wall. And what I'm doing is I'm going to push down hard on this. And just bring them seams together. And just kind of really squish it down. So now that's a... And I want to wiggle this too much because then you'll open up the seam where you're creating a seam here. You don't want to wiggle it too much. So now I got to put another one right here, and that's going to cover. Yeah, I don't think it's going to cover that. We'll see. And I like to go over top. So let's do this. Let's turn this a little bit so I can see where I'm putting this thing. Really? No, that don't matter. Because the face doesn't get messed with. Yeah, he took a little longer, guys. He took a little too long for my I got to get my deck fixed. I have to fix that deck before I get too old. Man, I just, you know what? Maybe. No. All right, so we're just gonna, right here, right there. Yeah, I'm gonna like this method. I think I like this method a little bit better. And it's because any kind of ripples I can create, that's just going to create a register key. That just creates a key, so this way when it's together, it's going to be really nice. These little ripples that's good. That actually gives it so it gives us something to cling to. All right, so I'm going to go up one more. I don't need the back side, I just need the front side. That's not going to work. The tape was hitting the head. Can't let the tape hit the head. It's got to be above that headline. All you're trying to do here is you're trying to keep this from splaying apart. When you start putting plaster on here and the weight of that, you see how that's separating a little bit there? We don't want none of these seams separating. All right, so we don't have to worry about the plaster getting in behind those seams. All a little crooked, that's good because that'll act as a register key to do this. And I like this method better because honestly I think I'll be able to what's the right word here? I'll be able to release it easier. And I won't have to stick the clay all the way up to the top of this. I'll just stick the clay about right to here. About that thick, the dividing wall. It'll be about that thick. And we won't have to worry about it because this here, it'll just peel right off. Where it matters is when you're making the other side. Then it really matters. Then it matters. Okay, time to go to this side. Let's flip it around here. Keep right on going. Yeah, I was going to use, I was looking at, buying waterproof plastic cards. But because this monster clay is so strong and so hard, I don't think the plastic cards would have dug into the head the way I needed it done. I don't think it would have worked. I don't think it would have worked. You have to remember, clay doesn't go up against this side. It's only on the back side. And then we take these off once the clay is, hardened. And then we have to put the clay on this side. And because I have that plastic's acting as a release as well. There's only two watchers. Anybody want to say hello? Okay, I need these two pieces taped. And then I'm done with the tape job. Okay. Okay, so the only thing left to do now is tomorrow, because it's a water-based clay, so the water-based clay will harden overnight, and I don't want the clay to harden because I have to demold it as soon as I get done stoning it. So what we do here is we put clay. Let me see. Let me turn this so you can see a little bit better. Man, there's a big delay. There's a big delay between now and where I was at. Now by having that wall there, I can definitely make sure that this problem area that I was having doesn't have a lock. You know, with the wall being there, you can really see if there's any lock being created. Just really trying to make it nice. It's going to be a very nice tight mold. That seam's going to be so... The reason why I did it this way more than any other reason is because now this gives me a really squared, perfect edge. It's going to be really tight. That's going to be a really nice tight seam against this mold. So it's going to be nice. When this is all done, this is going to be a nice mold. And it shouldn't leak. That's the nice thing, is it probably won't leak. A little secret that I usually use whenever I'm making, once like the two pieces are together, what I like to do is on the inside, this would be the inside of the sculpture, the mold, the inside. So what I would do is I would definitely put some latex and put it inside there and let that dry inside that seam, on the seam wall. I would make sure that there was dried latex there, and the reason why is because then the mold won't leak. It won't leak out anywhere if there's latex on the seam wall. Hard to explain. I know what I'm talking about, but you don't, and there's no way to really show you until I get to that point. Once I get to that point, you'll see the process. It's really cool. So we just stick clay right out to here, and the thickness of the ear right there, and we just make it the shape of the ear of the clay. And then the clay, that's going to tuck in behind this ear just a little bit, but it'll be flat against this. So I'll make sure that the clay is covering the round portion of the whatever this portion of the ear is called. It'll cover that part, the clay. This way the seam will be back right on this edge. The seam's going to be like right here all the way around. And this way you don't see any seam on your face. And I can actually brush that off with no problem. Be able to Dremel it off. So this is it. This is done until tomorrow. I don't. There's nothing left to do except for put put the clay ears on, and the bottom neck area, and then I'll be able to mold this tomorrow. That's the plan. I'm going to mold it tomorrow, guys. And all I used here was flashing. All right, tin flashing or whatever this is. It might even be aluminum flashing. It's aluminum flashing, and it has a vinyl coating on it, so the stone won't stick to that vinyl coating. So that's even better. So that just acts as another sealer. But I'll still spray it with a spray release, so this way I don't have any issues with it sticking to this, just in case. You definitely don't want anything sticking. So you still spray it with a spray release just to be on the safe side. And because the tape is now on the seams, no plaster will get down and behind it. But what it does cause is it causes a little bit of a ripple there. And every little ripple acts as a register key. In other words, remember when I put the little holes in the mask the last time I did this? I put the little holes inside the clay, little round holes. They're called register keys. And that's only to make the mask line up. The two halves come line together. But doing it this way, this is going to line up really nice. It's going to really be nice. And I still have some leftover pieces left for the next time I do another mold. And I don't waste too much clay. See, the problem is I don't like to reuse that wet clay because it gets stone in it. It gets stone, it gets dirty, so when I take this off, the only places I have clay is here and on the neck, and then on the front of the neck when I do the front half. I don't waste 25 pounds of clay. I only probably waste about maybe 3 pounds, compared to 20 or 25 pounds. So, and this is a cleaner, much better dividing wall too. It'll be a much cleaner dividing wall. It'll really give us a nice finish. Yeah, man. Okay, guys. That's it for today. That's pretty much what we accomplished. We put the dividing wall on. And it's a shame I couldn't finish the whole thing on that one video. And this is the retooled. I retooled the sculpture again because I didn't like the way the position of the eyes, and I didn't like the lips. So I retooled the sculpture, and the lips now look exactly like the flashback mask in Halloween Kills. They're identical to the flashback. The eyebrows are very accurate to the original mask. Very accurate to the original mask. So it's going to be fun. And this is a nice sculpture now. This is where it needs to be. You know what? The only thing I have left to do here is a little bit of naphtha. And I want to clean up in here and then back behind here. Oops. Oh yeah. And I'm starving. I got my stew done. My stew's finished. Shouldn't have any problems with the just rubbing extra hard on this because I was carving it a little harder. So there's a little bit more. Now there's another thing I can do to release this too, by the way. I can take like naphtha and this clay that's on the brush here, and kind of put it right on here. Put that right on there, and that creates a little bit of a barrier with clay. And then when the naphtha dries, you got a little shell of clay around that whole thing, and that you don't get no better release than clay itself. Um, the clay works as the best release you can possibly have. And I'm just making sure that along this edge, it's nice and tight. I'm still going to texture this. You have to have texture on here. I just didn't put a ton of texture on this mask because I didn't like it the last time. It was a little too rough. And if there's too much texture, what happens is, it's just really tough to finish your mask painting it. You want a little bit of texture because you want the paint to grab to the sculpture. Wow, that's really cool. I like this. I like this little method. It's just a real thin barrier of clay. It'll keep that from sticking to this. But, okay. What did I do with my texturing sponge? Here it is. I gotta drain it. It's full of naphtha. Because I like to soak my sponges because wherever I texture things like this, it's no good if it's wet. Shoot, too wet. Hold on. Just shake it out a little bit. Shake it out, feather it out, let it there we go. Much better. Much better. Oh yeah. Now, let's do the other side. Just from working on it and stuff. Yeah, you're not seeing what I'm doing here. All right, now you can see. I make sure I smooth into this area here, right against the wall. You want that nice and smooth. And along the ear, on here, where I had to carve a little bit on this side, because I damaged this ear. Remember this side when I put that metal thing in here? Oh, I think I put that on film. Anyway, I tried to bend one of these pieces around the ear, and it destroyed the inner side of this ear. I was like, no, I can't do this. This is not going to work. So that's when I decided, okay, we're going to do a mix of both. We're going to have the tin, I want to say the aluminum flashing and clay. And we'll win this war. Oh yeah. Gotta love it, man. I really do. I love this. I love this so much. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Come on, fly. Get out of here. Go find a home. I just want to fold this over so I don't too much. There we go. Now it won't stick back onto itself. And I'm ready for tomorrow. And almost ready completely. Now it's only going to take me a few minutes to put the, the clay onto the ears. Home run, baby. I like this. This whole thing only took me a few minutes to do this. It didn't take that long to do. So much better. I'm going to use this method from now on. I guess we're going to find out, though. How good is this method once push comes to shove when I actually go to demold it? I'll know then how good it is. Okay, that's clean. My sculpting tool is back where it's going to be. And I'm going to put my tape back up as soon as these little flanges. I can save this for the next one. This is great. No money out of pocket. I don't have to spend a ton of money on clay. I don't have to get a bunch of wet clay. I like this method, but then I'm going to find out how much I like it. You know what? There needs to be a little bit more. Oh no, this is the front side. I don't care about this side. It's this side that matters. It's the other side. So we've got ourselves a Michael Myers Night Creeper 78, retooled and made to look amazing. I can't wait to get this thing molded. This is the one I think I'm finished with. This is going to be the final mask. It's definitely a lot nicer than even the other one. Yeah, the lips are right on the money too. Man, that looks good. I'm just looking at the way this bulges out here, and it's the right depth. Everything's right. This one here was just a little too, it was sticking out just a little too far, and the lips were too narrow here. So I've got everything right where it needs to be. And the next mask is going to be the 2018 from the sculpture, and then we're going to go to the kills, and after that we are going to do a ends mask. Hopefully, I'm actually hoping that the kills mask is still the same mask as the end. I hope the ends mask is still the same mask that they use in the kills mask, only it's dirtier. If that happens, then it's just a matter of doing the kills mask and then just doing a different paint job. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that they don't really wreck the mask any further than they did. There was rumors saying that there's going to be stitching in it. There's going to be all these different things. I don't think they're going to change it. I think they're just going to make it dirtier. It's just my thoughts on it, because Christopher Nelson, I don't think he spent a lot of time sculpting. There was no tutorials on him talking about resculpting a new mask or anything, if you watch any of his stuff. So I think it's still the same mask they used in Kills, only made to look. Now I'm looking at this. This looks like it's a little too washed out here for me. Hold on. Just a little too washed out. I want that depth a little bit deeper in here. was a little too washed out for my liking. So now we just take the brush, a little bit of naphtha, and I don't want it too wet because this stuff's still soft. There we go. All right. Now I got to take my sponge out of there again and squeeze it out. Let this dry for a few seconds before I go and sponge it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. It's just wet. Okay. Just can't push real hard. You don't want to push real hard on this. You already got a soft layer out there because naphtha makes that first layer really well. It makes the outer edge of the sculpture very soft. So you don't want to push real hard on it because you're only trying to put a little light texture on it. That's it. Not a ton of texture. It only helps the paint grab. That's all it's there for. Once this turns to latex, you got that little texture on there. The paint will grab to it a lot nicer. And you'll get a better look. And it'll look flat. It won't look shiny. You don't want a shiny mask. At least I don't. I don't like shine. I don't like shine on my... I've seen a little too many beads there. I take away the beads. I don't like any kind of really beady textures on there. I don't take away the texture, but I don't leave these big beads of clay on there. That's too much texture. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys take a quick look at it straight on to the camera. And there's such a large delay on this YouTube channel right now that I'm trying to see. I'm waiting for me to turn it. Okay. Yeah, it looks really nice. Yeah, so I do the back half of the mask first with the plaster, then I do the front half. And then we demold. Looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Now what I can do, I mind the bumping around. I'm trying to lower it so you're almost at the right angle looking at the mask. A little bit too much to that side. There we go. So anyway, guys, I got 3 people on watching. I don't see anybody chatting yet, but you don't have to actually say anything. Who cares? You're watching, you're learning something, you're checking it out. That's cool. So you don't have to use clay all the time for your dividing wall. You can use flashing. You can, you know, there it is. That is the 1978 Night Creeper. Night Creeper 1978. Night Creeper 78 is what it's called. And this is the retool to really bring it in, to make it look good. Looks exactly like the eyebrow positioning is dead on now, and the lips are right. The nose is a little better, um, and the eye cut on the right side, I changed that just a slight little bit. You can barely tell, but I can tell. I know I dropped it. I put a little bit of a I pushed up into this corner just a tad bit and dropped it down a little bit steeper right in here. So that's how that worked. And we retextured it so the texture is not as bad. I did fix a little bit of this check mark cheek a little bit. I made this a little bit, just a little better. Just looks a little better, a little more rounded. But, okay, guys, I am definitely saying goodnight. I got to go eat something before I pass out. Go watch a little TV, see what's going on today in the news, and then prepare for this to be molded tomorrow. And I'm going to Monster Mania, by the way, guys. I'm going to Monster Mania in the 13th of 13th of August, and it's going to be in Cherry Hill. I already got my tickets today, and I plan on doing the Monster Mania. And I'm probably going to take my mask to have it autographed because check this out, guys. Halloween 2. Dick Warlock's going to be there. Leo Rossi's going to be there. And Lance Guest from Halloween 2. And I'm going to get all three of them to sign my mask. I'm going to paint my I'm going to finish up my Halloween 2 mask and have them autograph that. That's going to be my copy to keep. I'm not going to sell that one now. You know, it'll be an autographed by Dick Warlock, and that'll be a nice piece. And I'll have them all signed. I think I'm going to have them all signed right on the neck, in the front, so you can see the autographs, not in the back. I want the autographs. I don't want it right on the face, but on the neck is great. Um, yeah, you know, and that'll be my collector's mask, and it'll be from this sculpture. Actually, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do this sculpture because I want the sculpture instead. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this mask as soon as possible. I'm gonna foam fill it, make a small version. I'll make a large and a small version of this, and one for my brother Keith because he likes the large version. And we'll take it to what do you call it? We're gonna take it to Monster Mania. I'm lethargic. I'm tired, man. I've been at it all day. At it all day. I've been up early doing other things. I had to go shopping. I did all kinds of stuff. I got up with the sun this morning, and I only got probably about 4 hours sleep last night. So I know after my stew, I'm probably going to pass out. So this is it. This is going to be the finished Night Creeper 70. I am so looking forward to this piece right here. This is a nice piece. This was really, really nice. Um, I don't think I need to go any further with this. I'm going to move on to the next mask after that. You know, I thought I was going to be a little discouraged by not selling the mask on eBay right away. And right now, I've been talking to some people that are in the business, and they're saying that the numbers are way off. They're really, everything's so bad right now. People aren't spending money, and I know that to be true because of, my place of work where I work during the winter. Their numbers are way off, so it's really slow. So, you know, uh, as I think Halloween gets closer, I think this mask is going to take off. I do. And I'm going to keep putting them up on eBay as I make them and sell them. I won't put them up unless I sell it. I don't care if it has to sit there 2, 3 times. I have to put it up there, or I might have to wait until it gets a little closer to Halloween, which is okay. It's just this is extra for me. This isn't one of these things where I'm trying to straighten out the camera. That's a little better. But yeah, this is extra, and hopefully in a couple years, I'll be in the full swing of making masks. It's going to take a couple years. It takes 12 months to make a sculpture like this. I mean, I could rush it. Yeah. Well, I'll get better. I'll get faster. The more I get used to the shape and know how the face has to be, it's muscle memory. It really is. It's muscle memory. Once you really learn the correct form, uh, I'll pretty much be able to reproduce this all the time with not really very little difference. Um, I think the next copy I'm doing, I'm going to narrow the jawline just a little bit more right in here, just to bring it down just a little bit more. I don't want to lose the bulge. I'm going to make the chin just a little bit lower. The lips are going to be dropped down just a little bit lower. There'll be more space between the nose and the top of the lip. Not much. Right now, this looks very balanced. It looks perfect. It's literally right dead in the middle of the between the chin and the tip of the. Now I'm not looking from underneath. The tip of the nose to the bottom of the chin. You're That's 50% right there, man. That's like right on the money. So and it's looks really good. It's a nice sculpture. We should be in good shape by the time Halloween gets here. So this gives you hints of the flashback mask. It really does. It looks a lot like the flashback. um, I love the way this tails off now. I got this so accurate. I got this so accurate. Anyway, guys, I think I'm definitely going to bounce. I have to get off of here. I'm tired. I am tired and I'm ready. And tomorrow's a long day because I'm going to be molding this guy. And I'm probably even going to make a mask tomorrow. I don't know though. Might have to let that mold cure overnight first before I can make a mask from it. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll make a mask and then I got to prep it for making a urethane rubber mask. This way I have a master of it. I'll prep it and I'll store it in my house because I'm not going to probably buy any urethane for a couple of months, probably until next month. But I'll have the master copy. I'll have the master mold for it, so that's the main thing. I'm hoarse, talking too much. I was talking to the guy that's going to work on my deck in the fall. So fixing the deck and making it level and making it nice. It's going to be a nice piece. It's going to be nice out there. And probably not going to use it as my workshop anymore. I'm going to have to figure out something else. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see how things go. So thanks for joining me here, guys. There's 4 or 5 people on, 4 people, 3 people now. But I was watching you guys on YouTube and nobody commented. So, but that's okay. No need to talk. You're sitting here listening to me. and hopefully watching what I'm doing. But you get the idea. I used flashing instead of wet clay. I used flashing for the dividing wall on a two-part mold. So that was the key. And that's what I achieved today. And I didn't really take a lot of time. Didn't take any time at all to do this. Let me show you how. I'll give you a close-up of what I did. I embedded this into the ear. See the top of the ear? That's about where the seam line is going to be behind it. So, and same thing underneath. It's embedded into the bottom of the ear. There's no gap under there, which is good. This method's going to actually work better than the other method, no doubt. You got to remember, the plaster goes on the back side of the wall first. The back half of the head gets done first. Then you lay, once the stone is hardened on the back of the head, you don't take the stone off. You take the flashing off of this. All right, you take the flashing off, then you lay this thing down on the back of that stone head. You lay it down on the head because it cradles the sculpture. You don't have to worry about the sculpture getting damaged. And then you plaster the front. And this time, what else you did? Yeah, I finished the flashing all the way down the neck. I taped it. I taped the seams on the flashing. This is aluminum flashing, and I embedded it into the clay. See, let me show you. See, it's embedded into the clay. All right, the back half gets done first, so the tape that you're seeing on the head here, that don't matter. Once the back half's done, I take the flashing off of the plaster that's on the back side, lay this thing on its back side of its head, then I plaster the whole face. So that's a dividing wall, Crusher. That's the dividing wall. This is a two-part mold, and that's where the division is. And on the ears, I have to put clay there. The clay goes around. I'll show you. Hold on. All right. See, here's the flashing. It goes right up to this point. This is the high spot on the neck. This is the peak of the head. If you look at the head, you see right here, it's the very top, tippy top, the highest point to the top of the head. That's where you have to put your dividing wall. Why? Because when you go to pull this front half off and the back half off, if there's a lock, meaning if this was too far forward, the clay right here would keep that from, I wouldn't be able to pull that clay, that mold off there, or I wouldn't be able to pull the mold apart because there would be a lock. So you have to make sure that you're at the high point. Now, where these pieces come in, there's going to be clay in here, but it's going to go around this ear and tucked in behind it just a little bit. All right. And this way you have a perfect ear. You'll have a nice, perfectly looking ear. And the dividing wall will be a lot nicer. The only place I need to use wet clay now is both ears and the neck underneath the ear. And I have to create a little well like this. This way when the plaster runs down, the well catches that plaster and you just keep scooping it back up and onto your sculpture. You know, because your first coat is very runny. Your very first coat is a very runny coat. And you want a runny coat because you have to have, you want it to capture all the detail really good. You know, the runnier the coat of plaster, the better it captures the detail. All right, so your first coat is always real runny and thin and captures all the detail. And then from there, you thicken the walls. You use thicker plaster. You thicken it and thicken it. And then I build up the plaster on this wall about that high. You see, about that high. So it's a nice thick wall. And then I'll put register keys on here and I'll put pry pieces of clay on here so I can pry the mold apart. I won't have to put register keys on this one, but I have to put the the clay. But I'll put the clay once this is off. I'll put the clay on the plaster for my register. You know, and I'll use clay, little, you know, like you know, you only put a piece of clay probably like that big around, and you want it to be flat, maybe the size of your finger right there, like my pinky. Piece of clay there, and then that allows you to put a thick screwdriver in there and pry the mold apart. Yeah, it's flashing. It's aluminum siding. Let me show you this. See this? This has got a vinyl on it, so plaster won't stick to that, and that's on the back side because the plaster gets done on the back side first. As soon as you do the plaster on the back side of the mold, then you take the flashing off, all right? Fill the little seam that this created, which is it's very thin, but you want to fill that little seam up. And then what you do is now you put plaster against plaster, you know, but you have to make sure that you put your pry area things into the dividing wall, and you put your plaster on this side, and then when that's dry, you pry this whole thing apart, and you have a, you know, two-part mold. And you need a two-part mold for the master copy because all the wonderful things she does. I know, because I have to make a smaller version of this, and your master copy, I would never be able to get that clay out of there if this wasn't in two parts. If this was one big piece, if I put plaster all over this whole thing, I would never get this thing out of the mold, you know. And the reason why is simple. You can see it. Look how big this is. Look how small the neck is. That's called a lock. In other words, if I put plaster all over this thing and it all hardened, this area here is smaller. I would never be able to pull this out through that little hole. So you can't. That's what it's all about. That's what locking is. You got to make sure that you're on the peaks at your highest point, right on the dividing wall. In other words, this here, if I look down, this goes back this way, and this goes back that way on the front. So this way, right here is the high spot. In other words, I don't have anything, like if it was high here and having this here, I wouldn't be able to pull this mold apart. So there's all these little things that you got to pay strict attention to, and really, really pay attention to those details, because the last thing you want is not to be able to get your mold apart. If you can't get your mold apart, you can forget about your sculpture. It's gone. And I've never had one locked to the point where I couldn't get it apart. Now, I'll lose the ears for sure because they're locking. What's this now? I don't know. Are they pieces of siding? Yes, there are. I don't know if there's anybody out there doing this. I really don't, doing the siding thing. This is just something it's easier because I use monster clay, and I use monster clay hard. I can't use plastic because plastic, it would be really hard to try, too flimsy to try and shove into that hard clay. So I thought, you know what? I got a whole bunch of flashing in my back shed, and I cut a big sheet of it, and I cut these into pieces. And this is strong, man. I shoved that right into that clay, went right in there with no problem. And you overlap them. Hold on. Let me turn it forward so you can see what I've done. You overlap them, and then you tape the seams. Now, the other side is the side that gets the plaster first. Once the plaster is hardened on the other side, all right, then you take the flashing off, the tape off, and then, you know, the texture from this flashing will be on the other side, and that'll create a nice, that'll create a nice. Now this side is what's on this side, but because I take the flashing off once the stone is hardened on the other side, this doesn't matter. You're only stoning one side of the flashing. And then once the stone is hard, you take the flashing completely off. Now where the ears are, I'm putting monster clay there on both sides because I got to follow the contour of the back of the ear. So I want to make sure that that sneaks in a little bit further so we don't have a seam on the outside of the ear. We want the seam back behind the ear, and you'll see that process tomorrow when I go to mold it. I will mold this whole thing tomorrow. The reason why I'm not putting the monster clay on now is because wet clay. It's a water-based clay and it'll dry and harden overnight, and I don't want that to happen. So that gets done when I'm ready to do the main. When I'm ready to put the plaster on here, that's when I put the wet clay on it. And on the back side of the head, under the neck area, gets clayed here, so it catches all the plaster. Like it runs down and it catches it. There's like a little well that I create, and I'm able to brush that plaster back up onto the head as it thickens. So the well catches the real runny stuff as it's falling off the sculpture. Because when you do the back side of the head, you're doing it vertical. All right. When I do the front side of the head, because the plaster's hard on the back side and it's created a perfect cradle to hold the sculpture, I don't have to worry about the sculpture getting damaged because it's embedded into the plaster. I lay this thing down horizontal, all right, and then I plaster the face. And, you have to put a spray release on the whole thing, and you make sure you put a spray release on the front, because this is going to be, once this is removed, you're going to be plaster on plaster. But you got to make sure I put Vaseline all over the plaster when it's, so it can't stay, it won't stick. It won't stick to it the way I do it. So, and I think this method's going to be a lot better because I'll have a better squared off edge, a nice thin edge, and it's squared off better. So, and you'll see that tomorrow. You'll see. And why that's important is because of the more squared off the edges are, flushed, like it comes into the mask and then it's real sharp right off the edge. That real tight edge is so important. And it's hard to do that with clay. With this, it's real easy. You get a nice straight, firm edge, and that keeps your mold from leaking. When you put the two pieces back together and you want to put latex in there, this won't leak. I put a thin layer of latex around the entire seam when it's together upside down, and then I'll fill it up with latex, and then there won't be any leaking. So that's pretty much how it's done, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to jump off of here, go get my food. Hit the like button. Oh, Crusher, you got a bunch of things here. I didn't see you. Oh, and who's this? Oh, I thought that was Crusher. Random, what's that say? Videos? 524. Yeah, random videos. That's right. You've been on here before. I've seen you plenty of times. Yeah, okay. It's only me, but I'm lagging. Yeah, I'm having problems with YouTube today. It's been really bad. I don't know what's going on, but I've been having a lot of lag issues, and I definitely think it's the channel. I think it's YouTube itself. I've been having issues with what else? What else have I been having with? I tried to get on. Like when I first tried to go on this afternoon, when I first started doing this, it literally. It would go on for 30 seconds and then bounce me off. And I kept doing it over and over and over again. It took like 5 times before I was able to stay online. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off of here. I'm really tired. I don't know if, are they pieces of siding? Yep. It's It's actually a crafty idea. Yeah, it's. I don't know if anybody's doing it. I just like the idea. It's a little easier. You don't have to spend all that time sculpting the wed clay as your dividing wall. So this is just a better way to do it, I think. And now I only need wed clay. Only needs to be put on the neck area and where the ears are. So instead of using 25 pounds of clay or 20 pounds of clay making a dividing wall, I only need to probably use about 3 or 4 pounds. So just a lot easier, and the seam will be much cleaner. So yeah, aluminum siding works great. It's aluminum flashing. That's all I used. And what's the bonus is on the back side of this. This has a what do you call it? Vinyl on the flashing, so the stone's not going to stick to this vinyl. No way in heck. So it's going to be a nice dividing wall. We are ready for molding tomorrow. And this only took me to do this whole thing, this flash this out, took me probably 10, 15 minutes at the most. That's it. A lot easier than doing 2 hours of putting clay on there and putting register keys and all that stuff. So I want to say peace, guys. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you. You'll see me tomorrow. We'll be live out back in the extreme heat. All right, guys. Peace. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Share the content. Definitely hit the like button for me because it's so important to hit the like. YouTube loves those like buttons. And also notification bell. If you don't get my notifications, chances are, I don't know, for whatever reason, they stop sending you notifications. Unsubscribe and then resubscribe. And that will put you right back on there you'll get the notifications again. But when you hit the notification bell, make sure you hit all, because it'll ask you hit notifications and make sure you select all. This way, anything that I'm on, anytime I'm on, sometimes they're not as creative as this time, but sometimes they're just talking to you guys and updating you what I'm doing and when I'm doing. And sometimes I'm doing some work. So here we go. And tomorrow we'll definitely be doing some work. I want to get this thing molded. Peace. Have a good day. Thanks.